Hi everyone, and welcome to today's video. My name is Dr. Ray, and welcome to my little nutrition nation. All right, so today we have finally finished up with our fun days of Farmina that seem to last eternity. We've finally gone through every single one of their non-prescription canine diets. And that means we are now open to jump into a new series. And so I have been getting multiple requests to review Stella and Chewy's. And I had honestly been avoiding it because when I looked into it originally, it looked like they were only raw, and I didn't want to do that because it automatically puts them, at a handicap on the PSS system, and I really am not. I'm really not interested in bringing to you options that are bad. I really am interested in being a positive channel and bringing you options that are good. So I was hesitant to review them. But a subscriber, as you guys always bring me good information and knowledge and things for me to look up, said, no, they do have a non-raw line and you should look into it. And so I did. I did email them, and customer service was very responsive just to clarify, did they have any non-raw options, and what would they be? And they got back to me, and they do have a line called the Essentials line, and that is not raw. And then they also have a fresh, prepared, gently cooked line that is also not raw. And so not only did they give me that information, they went a little bit further, and they also got me the calcium and phosphorus levels on these diets because it was not listed on their website. So finally, we get to answer all those questions that you guys had about Stella and Chewy's. So if you go to their website, it is stellaandchewy.com. They do have the raw and the why raw, and I'm not getting into that debate. Why? Because it does not bring me joy. Why? Because there is very heated discussion on both sides. I don't think that the benefits are there. The studies that I've read do not show that the benefits are there, and the risk and the public health concern related to feeding raw, in my opinion, far outweighs any potential benefits that there may be. And so we're not going to get into it any further than that. We are skipping over the Stella and Chewy's raw section, and I would not recommend raw to the general population, and I cannot think of a single time in my 15 years of practice that I have recommended raw to a patient for any medical reason. And so we are skipping over that. What we are going to look at first is the dry dog food. So you can click on the dry dog food link if you are following along at home, and then scroll past all of these options here. So the raw blend, the raw coated. Again, I don't even understand that process, and I've tried to get companies to explain it to me. It just really doesn't make any sense. So we're going to just jump right into the Essentials. And so the Essentials is the line that is their fully cooked line. It is your typical kibble experience. And so here we have it. Now, when they emailed me, they said that they have the beef, the chicken, the small breed chicken, the duck, the lamb, and the whitefish. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 options that are going to be available for us to review today in the dry kibble line. And again, there are some fresh, and we'll get into that as well. So starting at the top, actually, using the list that they gave us, the first one that they listed was the beef. Now, if you've been on the Nutrition Nation with me for some period of time, these numbers here are on a dry matter basis. We're looking at the calcium and phosphorus. We can already tell, if we are looking at these numbers for the calcium and phosphorus, that we're going to be a little bit concerned, right? So raw aside, coated raw, fresh, gently cooked, air dried, baked, extruded, etc., regardless of all that, we are looking here, and we are already saying we are getting some warning bells, warning signs. My little nutrition nation should be looking at that, saying, whoa, Dr. Ray, you're not going to bring to us a food that has 2.43% calcium. I am, because you asked, right? So you asked, multiple people asked, and so we are going to get into this, and we are going to just evaluate it sans marketing, bare bones, how does it stack up nutritionally to the recommended ranges as published in Small Animal Clinical Nutrition. Now, you will say, well, where do those numbers come from? They come from research and data, and you can reference that research and data in the back of that textbook. Everything is cited. They are not AAFCO, okay? So these ranges, the calcium and phosphorus ranges, will fall into AAFCO, and we'll see that in the AAFCO statement. Just because they are allowed to put that in a food, they're allowed to put it in a food and bring that food to market, does not mean that it's ideal. Does not mean that it is optimum. AAFCO is a regulating body that ensures that label claims are met and that labeling is, is following the rules, right? They set the rules, but they don't set the rules as far as optimal nutrition goes. They pick the rules, and I don't know how they pick them. I don't know if they're arbitrary. I don't know how they set the standards, but they are not based on the data and the research, and they're not changing frequently as the data and research changes quite frequently. I mean, they can't. You can't tell a company you can label it, and then next month you can't label it. They can't do that, and so that is not their purpose. So be careful when you're evaluating a pet food based on AAFCO, because all pet foods on the market, at least here in the States, are going to meet AAFCO standards, because they have to meet AAFCO standards to be brought to the market. So that's not anything to evaluate on. They're all going to do that. What we're doing is we want, you guys ask me what's the best, how would you rank this? Is this one better than that? This, that, and the other. Well, this is how you do it. You use the PS system. And you evaluate them on a dry matter basis using ideal standards published in Small Animal Clinical Nutrition and not AAFCO. All right, so that is what we are doing today. So we're gonna start out with the beef. And so we're gonna put this guy in the background for a minute, and we're gonna go to the essentials, and we're gonna go to the beef. So there it is. Grass-fed beef and ancient grain recipe. The number one ingredient is the grass-fed beef. You can read through some of those other call-outs if you want, but we're gonna jump right into, past the marketing, we're gonna jump right into what really matters, which is the nutrition. So first thing we're gonna look for is the AAFCO statement, because that is gonna be very telling as to who the food is appropriate for, or who the food was actually made for. Okay, so as we are scrolling through, we have to click on the package, and then if we can, try to zoom in. And it's very hard to do, so I feel like I'm back in the original days of Dr. A's pet food scoring and all that stuff, where I have to really squint to find it. And so it says Stella and Chewy's essential wholesome grain beef and ancient grain recipe is formulated. So they're gonna lose a point there. Let me get out my chart here. So formulated to meet the nutritional levels established by AAFCO, nutrient profiles for all life stages except for the growth of large-sized puppies. So this is a formulated food that is actually a puppy food, so it's meant for all life stages, and if you don't know what that means, check out that video, but it is not tailored for an adult. It is meant for a puppy. It is specifically not a large breed puppy. So this is a regular non-large breed puppy food, even though the package is suggesting that this is an adult food, right? It doesn't say anywhere on here puppy. So automatically you're gonna default to this is an adult food, right? And so that is not something we want. So they're gonna lose off the bat 2 points for the AAFCO statement. And that is probably why the calcium and phosphorus are so out of the roof, because a growing puppy laying down bone needs more calcium than an adult dog that has already laid down the skeletal structure, okay? So you see why an all life stage is not ideal, because what a puppy needs to grow and lay down that bone structure is not what an adult needs. And so that excessive calcium and minerals can lead to some issues later on down the road, not only causing issues, but could exacerbate existing issues. So if your pet has hyperparathyroidism or any of the other conditions, Addison's, things like that, where calcium can be elevated, adding in a diet that has excessive calcium can then exacerbate that problem, okay? So we want a food that is tailored to our pet's life stage specifically, and so that's why they're gonna lose points. They're gonna lose points because it wasn't feeding trialed, and then they're gonna lose points because it was not formulated for adults. It was actually formulated with puppies at the base. All right, so next we're gonna move into, and then, oh yeah, you can see it right there, life stage, puppy, adult, senior. Not possible, okay? Not possible to be optimal for all three life stages. It is statistically just very difficult to do that. All right, so we are moving on to the, let's go to the to the ingredient list. So we already established that it is not grain-free and it is not raw, so they are going to get 2 points there. You can go through and you can read each of the individual ingredients, and I would consider evaluating individual ingredients once the baseline bones of the food is good. So if it's 7, 8, 9, or 10, then absolutely go gung-ho, look at those ingredients and make sure they're the ingredients you want. But if the food does not score a 7, 8, 9, or 10, there's no reason to look at the ingredients because it's not going to be good just based on the nutrition alone. The nutrition profile is going to be lacking or suspect. So I will not evaluate an ingredient list until I am absolutely certain that the bare bones of the food, the nutrient profile is there, and then I will worry about the ingredients that they have used to get to that nutrient profile. And so let's move on to the guaranteed analysis. These are minimums and maximums. I did ask for the minerals on a dry matter basis. The minimum and maximum can be converted. We will have to do that for the fresh. But as far as the dry goes, it's not going to deviate so far that it's going to skew the results on this particular evaluation, and you'll see why in a minute. And I can tell you, if it doesn't fit the parameters for an adult canine, it's absolutely not going to fit the parameters for a senior, because an adult canine is not nearly as strict as a senior canine. So I'm not even going to evaluate it against a senior, because if it's not strict enough for an adult, it is not going to be strict enough for a senior. And to be quite honest, if it's not strict enough for a large breed puppy, it's not going to be strict enough for an adult or a senior, because large breed puppy is also very restricted and very tailored in many aspects. The most lenient is a regular adult puppy, or the all life stages, except large breed puppy is the most foods can fit that category. So even the junkiest, sloppiest foods, most of them can fit in the all life stage acceptable level for AFCO and the all life stage acceptable level for puppy and lactating. Easiest label claim to get. Okay, so here we go. We've got protein, ideally for the adult dog, needs to be between 15 and 30, and so that is fine. They're going to get the point there. The fat at 16% is going to be fine. They're going to get the point there. They actually are going to lose the point on fiber, because when you correct this fiber for the 12%, it is going to go over. We'll just calculate that really quick just to verify that. Yeah, 5.6%. So they're going to be over. So they're going to lose it on the fiber, more fiber really than what is needed. Some people would consider that filler. It just depends on where you're at in that whole debate. I don't believe in fillers. Every nutrient that a company puts in a food is to serve a purpose. They would not put a food in there just because that costs them money. And so that whole filler thing is totally marketing, but we're not going to get into that debate today either. There's just too many controversial issues with Stella and Chewy, which is what I was worried about, and I didn't want to make a video that was going to get me harassed, but here we are. So be nice in the comments, please. So that's that. Now we're going to get into the next thing that we're going to get into is going to be those minerals, and so we have to pull up what they provided for us in order to evaluate that particular portion, because it's not listed on their website. Now it does say here that you can do that. So the data in our typical analysis is composed of calculated values using expected figures from the ingredient databases and actual lab analysis of their food. The table provides more information than the guaranteed analysis, but it's not absolute value. So there is some wiggle room there. So they do recommend that you do that. It may be more useful for you, and that's where they provided that information for me, but I did not want to overburden them by asking them for every single parameter. But certainly if you have a specific food that you're interested in, you should go ahead and do that, and their customer service was very happy to provide it. So this is what we were talking about how this is going to be. It's just going to be absolutely out of this world. So 2.43 on the calcium is almost 2.5 times in excess of what is ideal. If I remember correctly, the upper limit for calcium as far as AFCO goes is 2.5%. So 2.43% is just really, really, really skirting, even not being acceptable by AFCO. And then phosphorus at 1.46 is going to be, again, almost 2 times the recommended range. Needless to say, they're going to be losing 2 points there. So they only got 2 points on the guaranteed analysis. So right now, this food is only up to a 4. They can only hope to make it up to a 5, which is still suboptimal if the feeding guide is correct. And the feeding guide is going to be all crazy because they're going to try to explain to us how this food should be fed to every single life stage. And that is no easy feat. So body weight for adults, and then they've got for puppies down here. And then they've got a little verbiage here of what you should do if your dog is pregnant. And so again, they're going to try to make this fit for everybody. For a 20-pound dog, which is going to be right here in the middle of the reference range, they're recommending somewhere between 1 and 1.5 cups. This food is how many kcal per cup? Very far, very small. I don't know if it says 384 or 364 kcal per cup. That is going to be correct, so I'm going to be generous. This is only going to bring them up to a 5, and it's still going to not be one of my favorites. And so we're going to say the beef is a 5 out of 10. Next on the list, let's see if we can find any winner chicken dinner with the chicken. So we've got the cage-free chicken and ancient grains. Let's see if we see anything different here. Again, we've got that all life stage food, and most likely going to be formulated because once they are in that lifestyle, they tend to stay in that lifestyle. Yes, so again, they're using the easiest ACO statement to achieve. It is the all life stages except for large breed puppies. It is formulated, so the chicken is going to lose both points there. We do know that it is not grain-free and not raw, so we are going to get 2 points on the ingredient list. The feeding guide, I am pretty sure, is going to be the same for all of them. Yeah, it's going to be the same for all of them. This one is coming in at 382, so they are going to get 1 point for the feeding guide because appropriate if you calculate the resting energy requirement for a 20-pound dog is 363 or something like that, 360. We calculate it every time. If you want to know how to do that specifically, you can check out that video. We're not going to go over it in every single video because it's just too much. It's just too boring to my regular groupies here, and we're just not going to do it every single video. Let's move on to the guaranteed analysis. Again, that protein is going to be good because it is going to be less than 30 for the adult, so they're going to get a point there. The fat is going to be good because it's less than 20, so they're going to get a point there. They're going to again lose it on the fiber because it is going to be over when you do the dry matter basis calculation. And then we already know when we pull up the chart that these numbers are also going to be in excess. So 1.88 on the calcium and 1.01 on the phosphorus. They're going to lose both those points there. So again, we're going to get a 5 out of 10 on the chicken. Small breed chicken is the next one. I don't see the small breed chicken here on the list. Let's search it really quick. Yeah, I don't see that option being offered here, so it might be something that's available through a different channel, but it does not appear to be available on the website. So we are going to skip that one. Let's go to the next. So the next is going to be the duck, keeping with the poultry family. Well, this one's not on here either. What did they send me? Essentials kibble with ancient grain duck. So maybe it's on Chewy. Okay, not seeing it there either. Well, this review may have got a whole lot shorter. Okay, I'm not seeing the duck either. Okay, let's see what other options we have here. We got the other options we have is the lamb option and then the wild caught ancient grains and salmon. So let's go here. Again, same thing, all life stage. No points to be had there. Calorie wise, you're looking at I think it says 61. I think that is good. 1 there. Not grain free, not raw. So 2 points there, so up to 3 points. Let's get into the guaranteed analysis and see if there's anything earth shattering there. We're going to be good on the protein. We're going to be good on the fat. Again, we're going to lose it on the fiber. So it's pretty much the same. They kind of have the same philosophy, it looks like, across their foods. And it looks like they're most likely all gonna score the same. They're all gonna most likely score a 5 again, exceedingly excessive in the calcium and the phosphorus, so you're gonna lose those points there. That's gonna bring the lamb up to a 5. And then the last one is the whitefish. We know they're gonna lose 2 points right there on the minerals for sure. And let's see if there's anything earth-shattering on that recipe. So still gonna be the all ice stage, which is not our favorite. 22, so that's gonna be okay on the protein, a little bit lower in protein and fat. We're gonna be fine there, but the fiber is still gonna bump them over. So it looks like they're also gonna get a 5 as long as the calorie content is about the same, which it is, 354. So all of the options that they have on their listed on their website are only gonna score a 5 because the minerals were really excessive. They were all life stages. And for some reason they all had high fiber. I mean, the high fiber thing doesn't make me mad, but you know, and compounded with everything else that we're seeing there, this is not going to be one of my favorites. However, you know, maybe their thing is fresh, right? So, you know, this maybe may not be their wheelhouse, so let's give them a second chance here, and let's go ahead and evaluate their fresh and frozen options. So the ones that they suggested to me that I take a look at were the savory C, the fresh made savory C, the fresh made beef and barley, and the fresh made pork and quinoa. Again, they're going to lose all the points on the minerals, and so I am going to have to do some conversions on the rest of the ingredients, but they're already starting here with a -2, which is not you know, not promising. And so let's see, fresh dog food, fresh made. And so their fresh made is, you know, those vacuum sealed packs where it's, you know, you can kind of see like the carrots and the quinoa and things like that in there. Savory C was one of the options that they recommended. Now, when you are evaluating a food that is a semi-moist food or if a food that has a high moisture content, you do have to do a conversion. They gave me the ingredients on a dry matter basis that I could have called and asked them and gotten all of these, and you can do that too. You do not have to do the conversions. They even said on their website, customer service is great. They will provide that information to you or your veterinarian if they should ask for it. But because I don't want to burden them and I do, you know, these things a lot, I don't think it's fair that I have no intent on purchasing this diet, so I don't think that I should, you know, bug up their customer service. So I will just do the conversion for myself. So recommended feeding, let's see what they say. So for a 20-pound dog, you have to feed 1.5 pouches per day. It's saying if you're using this as a topper, and that would be an option if you really like this food, if you want to use it as a topper. I'm not a big topper person, but I know a lot of people are. So rather than just tell you don't do it and you do it anyway and you just don't tell me, what I'm going to say is you can use it as a topper as long as you follow the 10% rule, which means it should not be more than 10% of your pet's total daily caloric intake. If you do that, it is going to throw off the nutritional balance of your food that hopefully is a little bit better balanced than what we were finding here on Stella and Chewy's. So if you're going to use it as a topper, that's fine, but just make sure that it's less than 10%. I know in the past that was a little bit of a hard sell on that, but you know, I realized that you guys are doing it anyway, and so I think you can do it safely if you follow the 10% rule. So that's, you know, that's what I'm going to tell you guys to do if you use it as a topper. Now, let's look here on our guaranteed analysis. We already know that they're going to get 2 points because it's not grain-free and it's not raw. Looking here, it is again that all life stages, so they're going to lose the points there. I'm thinking this is going to end up being a 5, honestly, like all the others. It's saying, now this one is including the growth of large size dogs, so it did meet a little bit more stringent parameters there. So, you know, honorable mention for that, but I still think it's going to fall short. We'll see here in a minute. 388 kcals per pouch, and they're recommending 1.5. 388 times 1.5. Let's see what that is. Yep, so they're going to get a point on the feeding guide. So that's up to 3 points. So let's see what we can salvage on the guaranteed analysis: protein, fat, and fiber. Okay, so what you're going to see here when you look at it is you're going to say, oh my gosh, Doctorate only has 7% protein. Oh my gosh, how can you feed you know, how could they do that? How could they only put 7%? That's absolutely ridiculous. It's because there's moisture. It's 82% moisture. So we have to correct this essentially to be a dry matter basis. So we've got to remove that 82%. It's 82% off, okay? So I'm gonna do that really quickly for you and put the exact, you know, dry matter basis numbers here, and then we'll use those to evaluate. We're not gonna use the ones that are on the guaranteed analysis because yes, they are off because they include all the water, and that's gonna skew the results. Okay, so when we do all the corrections that we need to do, it brings the dry matter basis, the protein is 38.8, which is going to be excessive of what we want. The fat's going to be 16.6, which is going to be okay. And then the fiber is at 11%. So there's even more fiber in this moist food than there was in the dry food. So you see why these conversions in dry matter basis are important to be able to calculate and evaluate everybody on an even keel. And so that's going to bring this food up to a 1, 2, 3, 4, because it's losing a point here on the protein. So it lost all the same points as the other one, but it's losing additionally a point on the protein because the protein was higher than ideal for the adult and certainly higher than ideal for a senior. So 4 out of 10 on the first fresh made that we're reviewing. The other one that they suggested that I look at, the beef, barley, and turkey. Let's see if we see anything different here. Back with the all life stages, so different moisture content on this one. So this one's even going to be different than the whitefish. So let's do those calculations really quick. Even higher on the protein, so 40.9 on the protein on this one. Too high on the fat at 27. This is going to score even lower. Yeah, losing it on the fiber as well. So it's lost all 5 points for the guaranteed analysis. And it lost both points in the AFCO statement. It isn't grain-free and it isn't raw, so they get 2 points there. And then the feeding guide, I mean, should we even give them a 3 or should we just abandon ship here? 575. So yeah, so that brings the fresh made beef and barley up to a 3, which is not my favorite. All right, last one, pork quinoa, 1.54, 1.47, so we know they're gonna lose the points there. But let's see, freshly made, again, with the all life stages, losing those points. Guaranteed analysis, moisture on this one is 74, so again, it's gonna be different even than the others. Here. So, there. So losing all those points there. So this is probably also going to score a 3, 578 per pouch. That's going to be fine. That's going to be a 3. So overall, not impressed with the nutrient profile. There may be other things about this food that impresses you, but for me, first thing I want to know is, are the nutrients there? Is the food nutritious? And then after that, I worry about the other things, the fresh, the gently cooked, all that stuff. It doesn't matter if it's not providing the nutrients my pet needs. You eat. The reason for eating is to provide nutrition and sustenance to the body. And so it needs to do that. And for me, these diets are not doing it. Now, like I said, it may not be their wheelhouse. The wheelhouse thing may be the raw for them. Just for fun, let me see. Yeah, they don't list the mineral content, but let's just check the protein. We'll just run through a couple of these things really quick to see if they're even going to be closer on the nutrient profile without even knowing the minerals. Ooh, boy. Protein there is 55%. Fat, that can't be right. Fat at 32%. No, that can't. 32% fat? That's just crazy talk. Yeah, these numbers are just bonkers. And then when you get to the calorie count, it's at 329 kcals per 8 ounce pouch, or per 8-ounce patty. If you feed the 1.5-ounce patty, it's only 62 kcals. And so you'd have to do an 8-ounce patty probably for a 20-pound dog, and then you'd have to do multiple patties for a 1.5 if you're using the 1.5 ounces. It looks like without going through it in totality, but you know how to do it on your own if you want to, looks like the raw is going to be even further out of the reference range nutritionally, and then you add in that it's raw, and I don't know why I would personally ever recommend this. But again, these videos are not sponsored. I review them based on your request, and so this was requested of me, and I've done the review, and unfortunately my suspicions before I got into it are validated that a lot of this is going to be marketing to people who have been falsely misled, at least in my opinion, falsely misled that fresh is better, raw is better, etc., etc. Fresh can be better, it can be better, but it has to meet the nutritional requirements to substantiate that claim that it's better, or that thought that it's better, okay? It's not that raw can't be better, it's not that fresh can't be better, it's not that home cooked can't be better. It's just, it has to be done correctly, and it has to meet the nutritional requirements, right? So people ask me all the time about home cooked. Oh my gosh, I'm just so frustrated. I'm just gonna cook my dog's food because I just can't take it anymore. That's fine. You can absolutely do that. But in order to make it more nutritious, more nutritionally sound than that dry kibble that you're afraid to feed because people have told you that it's bad and it's horrible, it's the devil, you need to remember that that food is completely nutritious and balanced, okay? The nutrient levels are there. They have been assured to you that they are there. You know, and you can get that information from the company. However, if you cook your own food, and I have clients that do this, and I ask you, okay, you're doing your home cooked diet. I would love to see if it's nutritionally balanced. I have the numbers here from Small Animal Clinical Nutrition. I'd love to know what the parameters are of your diet. Can you tell me what the calcium, phosphorus, fiber, and fat are in your diet? And if you can't do that, then you really need to be thinking, am I making something more nutritious or am I not? You really don't know. And so if you're into that type of thing, please consult a board certified veterinary nutritionist, okay? Not a pet nutritionist, not a pet nutritional consultation person, a boarded veterinary nutritionist. And so you can find those at ACVIM. The link's in the description box below. And for all of you guys that are frustrated and are frustrated after watching this video because you thought this was a good one, and maybe now you may be second guessing that, I would say, one, consult your veterinarian. I am not making nutritional recommendations for your pet. I'm teaching you how to evaluate a food based on my pet food scoring system, okay? Everybody's system may be different. I'm teaching you a methodical approach. You can adjust that methodical approach to your needs, right? So don't necessarily change your pet's diet or anything like that based on my recommendation. Take these new questions and concern and consult your veterinarian and see if this diet is appropriate for your pet, or take this information and talk to a boarded nutritionist and see if this diet is appropriate for your pet. Okay, so I'm just giving you food for thought. We're not beating up on Stella and Chewy's. Their customer service was excellent. I don't really line up to what they believe, what their philosophy is nutritionally. I like to see things in line with the data in Small Animal Clinical Nutrition, and that just wasn't the case, in this particular case, okay? So I hope you guys enjoyed that. And, if you are still searching after this video, feel free to check out my playlists. I have some of 7, 8, 9, and 10. There are some other fresh food options there for you to peruse. There's some oven baked, there's some insects, there's a little bit of everything, right? So check that out. Be sure to like and subscribe before you go, and we will hang out again real soon. Bye.